The Arizona Cardinals just re-signed their starting running back James Conner to a 2-year extension, $19 million as the total. Great move, man. James Conner has been an absolute unit since arriving in Zona. Really the heart and soul of this offense. And I'm sure the Steelers kind of regret letting him walk when they did. I know Najee Harris has been pretty good this year for the most part because it's a contract year, of course. You gotta show up or you're not gonna get paid. But prior to this year, Najee Harris has been pretty disappointing. I know his first year he got a ton of carries, therefore his production was pretty decent, but like I just said, James Conner has been an absolute beast since coming to Arizona. The dude was pretty solid on Pittsburgh as well. They just wanted to go in a different direction, I suppose, and now he gets a great contract for a running back. Well deserved for sure. And it's reported that his annual salary will rank 6th in the NFL, so not bad at all. Kudos to his agent. He's been with the Cardinals since 2021, and this was his final year on his contract. He was supposed to be a free agent after this season concluded. Right now, he leads the team with 705 yards on the ground with 5 touchdowns and 29 receptions and 288 yards. Not bad stats for James Conner this year, and that's the thing, man. If Arizona wants to get to the playoffs and return to football in January, they're definitely going to need him to stay healthy and to stay on the field, because that's the only kind of downside to James Conner. He's had a plethora of injuries, especially with his time with Arizona. He hasn't played a full season since joining Arizona, so that's definitely an issue. The best availability is always availability, so now that Arizona has that taken care of, the next big question is, can this team actually make it to the playoffs? Now, I know they lost a big rival game this past week against the Seahawks. Really, that offense did not show up. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if Kyler was pulling all-nighters playing COD before, or, I don't know what was happening, but that offense did not show up, and that was really a dud of a game and kind of uncharacteristic to what this Arizona team has been this season. So, really disappointing game, but they're still in the mix, and they still have a solid chance at making it to the playoffs. I believe, in my opinion, it's either going to be them or the Seahawks taking the NFC West this year. I feel like the Rams could maybe pull something out of their hat, a rabbit out of their hat, I suppose, but I really would cross them off. And the Niners are done, man. They're just done. They have a tough game this upcoming Sunday night at Buffalo. Apparently, it's going to be snowing like 2 or 3 feet. Gee, I wonder who that favors. It's kind of like the same story of, what we saw with the Miami Dolphins play Green Bay a couple days ago. And I know the 49ers are a bit different. They're not as warm weathered as Miami, but still, bro, like when you're playing in 2-3 feet of snow, that's a huge home field advantage, and I totally expect the Bills thoroughly handle the Niners on Sunday Night Football. Still, potentially a big snow game, so that'll be a great watch. Definitely looking forward to that one. But yeah, man, back to what I was saying. I think it's going to be either Arizona or the Seahawks right now. As of right now, Arizona is currently out of the playoffs with a 6-5 record. They're right behind the Commanders, so hypothetically, if the Seahawks beat them again and the Seahawks hold the tiebreaker, maybe if the Commanders keep losing these games, maybe the Cardinals can overtake them. That's a possibility as well. And the Cardinals obviously have a huge game this upcoming weekend. Every game from here on out is clearly a must-win, especially when, your division first place is up for grabs. Every game from here on out is a must-win, but kind of a tough spot for them. At Minnesota, I know the Vikings have kind of been iffy the past 5 weeks, but still, on the road, must-win game. Pretty good home field advantage in my opinion. I feel like the crowd in Minnesota always comes out. And the Vikings defense has been pretty solid this year, so it's definitely not going to be an easy task for Kyler and company. Then the following week at home against the Seahawks. Now this is an absolute must win, because if they lose this game, then the Seahawks will hold the tiebreaker with the Cardinals, and that holds a lot of value when, of course, you're trying to make the playoffs. But the good thing for the Cardinals is after those two rough games, they're at home against the Patriots, then at Carolina, then at LA Rams, and they finish off the year at home against the Niners. So hypothetically, if they drop the next two, if they win the next four, that would take them to 10 wins, and I feel like that would still potentially get them in the playoffs. And I know the two division games at the end won't be easy tasks. Even if the Rams and Niners are technically eliminated, division rival games, they're going to come out and play, and, they're going to want to try to eliminate Arizona from the playoffs. So not easy games there, but still, I feel like Arizona is definitely better than those two teams on paper and on the field thus far in the year. So yeah, man, let me know if you like the signing of James Conner. Do you think he's a top 10 back in this league? Do you think he's a top 5 back in this league? Let me know in the comments. And do you think Arizona can make it to the playoffs? And if you think they're going to make it to the playoffs, do you think it's going to be through the first place of the NFC West, or do you think they're going to take the Commanders' position? I really don't think there's any other route other than those two, because as of right now, the 6th seed is held by the Green Bay Packers, and they're 9-3, and the 5th seed, the Vikings, 9-2. There's 6 more weeks left in the season, and they're already at 9 wins. So we're kind of getting into that territory where teams are getting mathematically eliminated. So it's just not really possible for Arizona to realistically get the 5th or the 6th seed. So let me know how you think they're going to get it done, or do you think they're just not going to make the playoffs entirely? Let me know. And hypothetically, if they do make it to the playoffs, they would probably play the Eagles on the road as of right now, or they would be hosting a home game versus the Green Bay Packers. If I'm an Arizona fan, I'm definitely hoping for the home game against the Packers, even though the Packers, I think, are going to be right there in the NFC Championship this year. To go on the road in Philly against that defense, that's a tough spot. That's a tough spot indeed. Both games are not easy, and, I've read a lot of things online about people talking about Arizona, and yeah, they probably are going to be a one-and-done team if they make it to the playoffs, just because the NFC is loaded, man. Like, those two potential games, playoff wildcard games, are brutal, man. Like, on the road against Philly, at home against Green Bay, that's tough. So, you guys let me know what you think about the playoff picture and everything else in between. If you made this far, please subscribe. It'd help out your boy a ton. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
Woodhead's never able to build up that power that he has as a running back when there's nowhere to go. Hey, there's nowhere to go. That's a short game.
And now we reach the 2-minute warning. Back now in this one, and time is running out here in the 4th quarter. The Broncos come out in a dime package. The Chargers take it from the 23. He's brought down. That's going to bring up 4th down.
The Broncos defense is so fast and so powerful. That time of the run play, they just overpower the offensive line, and they tackle the runner for a loss.
And he converts here on the field goal try.
The outcome of this game is probably now all but decided, as that field goal makes it virtually official.
Yeah, I think it does make it official. They're going to win this football game, and you sit around now and you can just think about all the things you're going to tell the press and how great you are and what you did out there today to help your team win.
The Chargers have victory within their reach now, and they've only turned up the heat as we've gotten into the fourth quarter, Phil.
And you know, listen, they're doing this against a very good offense, so that makes it even more impressive to play this well against a good offense.